Well, folks, it's now over a month since the FM24 early access dropped, and in that time I've clocked up over 300 hours in the game and scored an awful lot of set pieces. Of course, we got the new set piece creator for FM24. I've had a lot of time to play around with it, and what I've learned is, for it to be really, really successful, you don't actually have to do a lot. Let me explain. And I am going to attempt to prove just how little you need to do by starting a new save, which I will show you in just a second. But first, a little bit of evidence of what we've achieved so far. Because if you've been watching any of my other content this year, and you should, there's lots of links down in the description below, you'll know that we do score a lot of goals from corners. For example, this is, I know, I went in the data hub. Regular viewers are appalled with me. But this is from Non-League to Legend. With Tamworth, as you can see, we score more set pieces than anyone else in the division. We're not massively great at defending them. I mean, we're kind of middle of the road for defending them, but we certainly score more of them than anybody else. And in season 1 with Tamworth in the National League North, our top scorer was actually our 6'3" left back, who got 20 goals, I think, off the top of my head. But this is not the only occurrence of this that we've had. This is from my current Twitch save, where I've been managing Ankara Demirspor in the Turkish 3rd tier with we've rebuilt this team twice over. There's been so many transfers in and out. I did a mass sacking where I let most of our regular first teamers go because there was a player mutiny. And despite all of that, we still score more set pieces than anybody else and concede fewer set pieces than anybody else. Then we've got the Everton save. I did a 3-season rebuild with Everton last week, in which we had Jared Branthwaite, who of course is a big boy, scored 15 goals in a season for us. And as you can see with that Everton save, which to be fair did include Beto, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Branthwaite, we score more set pieces than anyone but Liverpool. And again, about middle of the road for defending. And this suggests I probably need to get a little bit better at defending set pieces. I did a rebuild with Ajax. As you can see, scored more set pieces than anybody. I think that's fewer conceded as well. The graphs are hard to interpret. My beta save with Brighton, obviously we've got Liverpool there as an outlier, but we've still scored more than everybody else and don't concede very many either. I did a beta save on Twitch with Chelsea. We've scored more set pieces than anyone else in the Premier League and conceded fewer. You get the idea. We're pretty good at set pieces. And what am I doing to be that good at set pieces? Like I said in the intro, the answer is not a huge amount, other than making sure, and this should go without saying, making sure you've got some big meaty boys to aim at for them. The best corner tactic in the world isn't going to help if your tallest player is 5'11", or you've got a big guy but he can't head. You need big guys who are good in the air. That's why I've picked Southport for this save, because looking through their squad, I think they're going to be an excellent test case, because we've got Harry Flowers, who's 6'5", jumping reach of 15, heading of 15. They're the attributes you're looking for. The height isn't actually that important. This guy's 16 stone. The height isn't actually that important, because the height is kind of just an indication of things that contribute towards jumping reach. What you really want for someone who's good to aim at corners is high jumping reach, high heading. We've got that with Flowers. 15 and 15 in the National League North means that guy should dominate and get well into double figures. But in addition to him, we've also got this guy, Keenan Kwanzaa, who's 6'4", 13 on his jumping reach, 12 on his heading. So they're both going to be in the team at the same time. And then we also have, I think it was Jordan Archer. Yeah, 6'3", 11 jumping reach, not so great at heading, but he's a big physical boy. Although it's 6'3" and only 9.5 stone, he's almost half the size of Flowers. Several big, strong boys to get involved with these set pieces. This Southport team are expected to finish lower mid-table, 15th place. We're going to do no transfers. All we've done is set up a basic wing play tactic, which we're going to sim the entire season. And then the only thing that is different from just doing this as a vanilla save basic sim is we are going to go in and we're going to set up our set pieces. And this is how I've set them up on every single save that I've done this year. It seemed like the logical answers to the questions when I first set up my first save during the beta. It worked. I felt no need to change it. So defensively, we do hybrid marking. We put a man on the near post when we're defending. Like I say, defensively, we could probably improve these. I've not felt the need to because I think it's already very overpowered and I don't necessarily want them to get even better because people moan the game's too easy as it is. When we're defending, we want to leave a balanced number of players forward. Our attacking set pieces, we'll aim for the near post, at least on here, where there will be some variety there. And we also have balanced on that one. And our primary corner is going to be an in-swinger to the near post. So we're looking, defensively, we touch nothing. We just leave that to do its thing. And as you've seen from the evidence from all of my other saves, if you've got big physical players, this is fine. You'll do better than most just with that. And then attacking wise, we have 3 routines. We don't need to change anything about the routines. What I do make sure that I do is under responsibilities. I select the tactics because I want 3 different variations of our corner. But the set piece takers and the set piece personnel lists, I do allocate to a member of staff just so that I don't have to fiddle with them. And it just means that we've got the best people taking the set pieces, particularly useful if your first 11 varies, if you make signings through the season. And then also the aerial threats, which is the key thing. This will automatically populate as well. In fact, it looks like we've got another big, strong boy who I didn't even notice before. He's only 6 feet tall, but he's got decent jumping reach and he's very good in the air as well. So we've got some serious aerial threats and we want to make sure that those serious aerial threats are going to be the ones that we're aiming at. So our first routine is the near post in swinger, just the standard one that's built into the game. We don't need to tweak anything at all on it. And you can see that we're aiming for the near post where A1 and A2 are. So our best 2 aerial threats, we want them both attacking that near post. We can have a look to see who they are by previewing it with our starting 11. You can see that it's Flowers and Quansah, the 2 that we've identified before. We're going to be whipping it into that near post as an in-swinger, and those 2 massive slabs of meat are going to be there scoring goals. But that's not the only routine that we want. In addition to having an in-swinger to the near post, we also want an in-swinger to the far post. We want a little bit of variety. I think variety is important, or else the game, I don't even know if it does this, but I feel like without the variety, the game will just counter you. Whereas this way, it doesn't know for sure whether you go near post or far post. Although to be fair, the location of the big boys should be a giveaway. But I like to have the near post in swinger done more often, the far post in swinger in the middle. And again, you can see how it actually plays out and make sure that you have got the best players in the best positions. If you leave these bits on here, it always will be. You don't need to fiddle with it. But you can see, again, we're aiming for the far post where Flowers and Quansah, again, are the 2 that we're aiming at. And then I'll have a third routine as well. Now, if I'm playing in a big Premier League team, I'll like a technically good team, I might do a short corner here because I've seen short corners work at the big clubs. I certainly see a lot of people discussing on Twitter how good short corners are on FM24 and how they're even more broken than these ones that I'm using. And for that reason, I've not really experimented with them too much. I don't want corners that are even better than the ones that I'm using because you've already seen how good these ones are. So what I actually tend to do when I'm managing a smaller team, like in Non-League to Legend, like in my Twitch save over in Turkey, we just stick in an outswinger. So we'll probably do like a near post outswinger, which we'll just do less often. Again, just to offer a little bit of variety, to mix things up occasionally. And even with that one, you can see that if we're outswinging to that near post, it is still these 2 boys, Flowers and Quansah, that we are aiming at. The only other thing I've been changing, and I've started doing this in the last couple of weeks, we are also setting up a long throw. But again, we're just doing the basic long throw. You have to take the players off to be able to do it, but we want a long throw. And again, the long throw is aiming to our 2 big boys. Guess who the 2 big boys are? It's those 2 again, Flowers and Quansah. We'll be throwing it in, looking for them to be, I mean, really, we're looking for flick-ons in this example, but it all counts towards set-piece goals. So with that set-piece routine set up, I am now going to change nothing else, and we're going to go on holiday. We're going to use current match tactics, use the current team selection, because the current team selection has both of those boys in it. So we want them playing as much football as possible because we're really looking for 2 things. Thing number 1, we want to check that those two boys are the ones scoring all the goals, because theoretically that's how I think it works. But we're also going to go into the data hub and see how we compare when it comes to goals from set pieces to the rest of the league. So we're going to go on holiday until the end of the season. So what's that? 21st of April. So make sure we use the current tactics, reject all transfer offers, go on holiday until 21st of April next year, which will get us the full season. And then we'll have a look to see how we've got on. And there we have it. We've made it through to the end of the season, finished in 10th place, 5 points outside the playoffs, which for a Southport team that was supposed to finish mid-table, I would consider that a pretty decent season. In fact, we were supposed to finish 19th, apparently, based on the quality of our players. So to finish that high up, when all we've done is sort out the set pieces, I'm pretty happy with that. If we have a look at who our top goal scorers have been, I mean, this guy, Marcus Carver, I don't know that that's anything to do with the set pieces. He's just scored for fun, though. But what we have got is Jordan Archer, who we identified as a goal threat, as an aerial threat. He's up there with 13 goals. Harry Flowers, 9 goals for him from centre-back, which seems about right, possibly a little bit low. Where's it? Keenan Kwanzaa has only scored 2 goals, which does feel a little low. Let's have a look. If we go into the data hub and go on to our team to see what we've got as goals from set pieces. I mean, we've not absolutely dominated for it. We've finished 10th in the league, and there's 6 teams who've scored more goals from set pieces than we have, but we do still have 20 goals from set pieces. Like I say, defensively, nothing special. I mean, we're pretty much in line with the average there for defending them, but we're certainly outperforming the average when it comes to scoring from our set pieces. So they're pretty effective. I know that it could certainly be tweaked to make it better. My argument would be, have you watched any of my series? we do quite well. We don't necessarily want to tweak it to make it even better. And in fact, if we look at who our assist makers are, Hamami and Doyle, 31 assists between them. I think they're our set piece takers. So corner takers, Hamami and Doyle. So he takes the ones from the right, or the left, actually, because we do in-swinger. So he's taking them from the left-hand side. He's taking them from the right-hand side. And that's probably a better indication than who's scoring the goals of where the goals are coming from. The fact that we've got 18 assists for a guy who's just sat there playing central midfield and 13 assists for a left-back. Niall Watson, does he take set pieces as well? Let's have a little bit of a look. Yeah, if Doyle isn't on the pitch, Watson takes them from that side. So it is our corner takers who are getting a stupendous number of assists. So I think that probably illustrates the point better than the goal scorers. And I guess what we've actually got is maybe some of those strikers who've scored loads of goals have ended up moving up the aerial threats list, or they're just being thrown forward. We have the go forward if needed. Let's have a look. If we put our starting 11 on, where are the strikers? So the guys who are scoring all of the goals, Marcus Carver, I mean, he's outside the area for the corners. Well, that ruins that theory, doesn't it? Bottom line, boys and girls, it works. You've seen that it works. It doesn't work too much. I think it works enough. If you watch my series, you'll know that I'm all about the realism. And if you get the right guy, as we saw with Cullinan Liebird for Tamworth, getting 19, 20 goals. We've seen it with Branthwaite for Everton. We've seen it shared through various players in other saves as well. Tammy Abraham was particularly good at it for Brighton. He was scoring a lot of goals from these set pieces. So if you set it up right with the right players, maybe we need a slightly better corner taker. Maybe these guys aren't quite as aerially dominant as I hoped. But like I say, 20 goals of our, how many goals did we actually score over the course of the season? So we scored 93 goals. Tell you what, we're a good team. 20 of them coming from set pieces. I can take that. I think that's verification that it works, or at least for it to work to a realistic level, you don't have to fiddle around with it and tweak with it too much. Will I experiment with it further? Probably not. Not for as long as we're where we are there. I think if there's an update or two and we start to drop down and we're kind of scoring the average amount, then we'll try and tweak it a little bit more. But every save I'm doing, we're scoring more than the majority of the teams in the division from set pieces. I probably will look to tweak the defensive stuff. Certainly, if something like the Streamer Showdown were to come back, we'd come up with a really... We'd be up here like we were with Ajax in that save. And it obviously shows that quality of players has something of an impact as well. Because remember, we've been 6th there for goals from set pieces with a team that was supposed to finish 19th. So quality of player wise, we're obviously well below a lot of the teams in this division. South Shield scoring more set pieces than everybody else, but probably also to do with the fact that they're scoring more goals than anyone else. They're not coming from their defenders. So they're not all coming from setting up wonderfully overpowered set piece routines. But ultimately, I think if you end up with a centre back who's got 9 goals for the season, that's a good indication that you're doing something right with your set pieces, and I'm pretty happy with that as an outcome. Let me know down in the comments how you're getting on with your set pieces. Are you finding you need to tweak them at all, or are you just using the basic ones, and what kind of results are you getting? The new set piece creator, similar to when they brought in the preset tactics a few years ago, I think has reduced the need for too much fiddling. You can pretty much go with the presets and they're pretty good. But if you found one that's even better, let us know down in the comments and we can have a chat about it. But if you have enjoyed that video or just found it helpful, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.